Hey y'all, welcome back to New Slang. I'm music journalist Thomas Mooney. This is episode 171 with singer-songwriter Rob Leines. So yeah, it's been a minute, been a little bit busy, also just needed a little bit of a break, which I'm sure none of y'all really want to hear me rambling on about that. All you really need to know is that we're back to our regularly scheduled programming here at New Slang with a couple of episodes coming your way each week. The past couple of weeks, I've been able to do a little bit of the catch up on the whole New Slang interview thing. So there's a few that are already in the can. And as you'd expect, there's some great ones in the work as well. I'm super excited about them all. So Rob Leines was one of these folks who I spoke with the other day. His new album, Blood, Sweat, and Beers, came out back in mid-March. At its core, it's really a rock and roll record. We're going to call it Americana and country and southern rock and all this other stuff. But at its core, it's a meat and potatoes rock and roll record. You could kind of say that it's informed by some of those great classic 70s and 80s bands from the swampy South and the West Coast, that blue collar holler and the southern swagger. This record, it just feels really comfortable with itself. Rob captures a sense of down-home folks who are working those 9-to-5 jobs and are just looking to take the edge off on the weekend and on the evenings. It's something that we talk about during the conversation as well, but I'll make a point of it here again. In reality, 99% of the time, being a musician is a blue-collar job. It's long-haul trucking and loading in and out, truck stops, fast food, convenience stores, motel rooms. It's sleeping on floors and working with your hands, and at the end of the day, it's like just straight up hustling. We may glamorize it a little bit more than the auto mechanic or welding work, and I'm sure it's easier and a lot more fun than roofing in the summertime or digging ditches or anything like that, but still, at the end of the day, it's a blue-collar job. And that's something that Rob threads together on this record without just like blatantly saying it. You really get that sense of how these two worlds, being a musician, being a blue-collar worker, being a welder, anything like that, they're all one and the same. Today's presenting partner is our pals over at Desert Door Texas Soto. If you're asking yourself what exactly Desert Door or a Soto is, well, it's a premium, high-quality spirit that is similar to a tequila or a mezcal, but in my estimation, it's more refined, smooth, and fragrant. It has a distinct and intriguing palate that picks up on hints of vanilla and citrus while maintaining a healthy earthiness that is quite enjoyable. One of my favorite features about Desert Door is just how versatile it really is. If you want to feel fancy and a little highbrow, it's perfect for a variety of cocktails that call for lime wedges and coarse salt, chopped ginger, agave nectar, sprigs of thyme and sticks of cinnamon. If you're down to muddle some fresh fruit, all that kind of stuff, it's perfect. It's great for experimentation and fine-tuning all of your mixologist skills. And then also, if you're a little bit more down home and casual, you got that denim jacket on. It's just perfect for those short and sweet, simple go-to favorites that hit the mark every time. I'm talking about ranch waters and Moscow mules and palomas and Mexican Coca-Cola with Desert Door. What I love so much about Desert Door is just how genuine and authentically West Texan they are as well. They go out and harvest Soto plants out in the wild and are aware and knowledgeable conservationists at heart. So next time you're at your neighborhood liquor store, get yourself a bottle of Desert Door. I'll throw a link into the show notes for more information. We'll get to that here in like 2 seconds, but first, if this is your first time listening to New Slang, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're on iTunes, leave that 5-star review. Be sure to stop on over at the New Slang merch store as well. We got plenty of t-shirts, coffee mugs, shot glasses, stickers, koozies, magnets, and so much more. So yeah, go stop by. While you're at it, stop on over at the Patreon as well. It's a great way to support this podcast and journalism. Speaking of podcasts, if you're into 90s country music, be sure to check out my other podcast, The Neon Eon. I've had folks like Clay Walker, Pam Tillis, and Tracy Lawrence on. And the Neon Eon merch store is up and running as well with brand new shirts, koozies, all kinds of stuff over there as well. I gotta say, I think they look pretty dang sharp. So yeah, go check all those out. Just like New Slang, The Neon Eon is available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And of course, all these links, they will be in the show notes for easy access. Speaking of which, let's get on into the interview. Here is Rob Leines. Yeah, anyways, though, like, obviously you got this new record that's been out for a minute. And, you've talked about how obviously you're doing this night shift right now, welder. This record very much ties into a lot of those blue collar themes, a lot of that hard living aspects. What was it like? I guess, like, take me back to collecting these songs, as far as like how long of a period of time was it where did these come like in a short rapid fire, or has this been over a couple of years?
No, so I released the first album in 2018. So none of these were written then that I know of, if I can remember correctly. But some of them were kind of half written or just an idea. When I came out with the first album, and then when Blood, Sweat, and Beers came about, it was and we were luckily touring so much at that time. And you'll get on the road and you'll come back, or you'll get inspired by something, or just something sparks in your brain, and you come back with a new song. So 2019 we recorded that record only kind of when we had time, when we were back in LA. So it was cool. It was weird to piece it together, but every time I come back, I'm like, hey, I got a new song. The engineer would be like, all right, let me hear it. This is like always something I was like, no, I'm going to add this one, so it was, so some of them were kind of pre-written halfway, just ideas. And then some of them were just spur of the moments, like it just vomited. It's weird how it all comes to you like that, or it doesn't, and I think with travels and doing things, and that's kind of why I signed up for this job again too, obviously for the paycheck, but and to do something, but to doing something, is always inspiring. That's just how I write stuff. I can't sit in a room and sing about quarantine. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah.
I need life experience and travel. So
yeah, that's something that's been interesting talking with folks about, has been because so many people, they need to see those characters in that bar, that honky tonk, or they need to see them at work. They need to see them in, pumping gas, whatever the case is, and going like, well, what the hell's that guy's story? What's their story?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's just so much of that has been taken away this past year. So, I mean, it's very much one of those things where, and probably in art in general, is like the chicken or the egg, which came first, as far as like, did you go out on the road to write songs and get ideas, or did you get the ideas from what you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, hell, there's just, with this job too, I've traveled all over the place. I mean, we've been in Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and real COVID safe for sure, but they they run us all over the place. But man, I could tell you, I could write 6 albums about these motherfuckers that I meet out here. They are just characters, and it's hilarious, because everyone's from different parts of the country, sometimes world, and they stick us in on a job, so the third album, there's going to be some more working man songs, but more there's just so many characters that it would be stupid to pass that kind of material up.
Right. Well, you mentioned, like, you only have a couple hours to fit all this stuff in. I take it, like, there's not a lot of time to be actually, like, writing the songs out right now. Well, what are you doing as far as, like, you a good note taker? What do you do as far as, like, trying to ensure that you're able to capture some of those details, those stories, without necessarily having to write the song out then?
Right. Well, I'll listen to music, and even if it's just in the background, and it's not necessarily at all, copying or doing my interpretation of someone's songs, I kind of use just the emotion of that. So I'll listen to music and I'm not even really paying attention. It's just the way that makes me feel in that moment, and not even their melody or anything, but it inspires something with it in myself. So I'll either write it down like on a notepad, or I'll sing into it on my voice recorder on the phone, and that combination. And then I'll sometimes lay a guitar part down, and I'll play it over and over again on my phone just without vocals. And that gives me a chance to kind of rhythmically place lyrics and stuff like that. I mean, that's all if I don't have a guitar, or if I'm on doing something else or on the road, not able to jam with the band or put my thoughts together that way. So I just kind of piece it together like that sometimes.
Yeah. Is that very much kind of the way it is on the road for you as well? Because like whenever you're on tour specifically,
right?
Because like I know like so many people have such a hard time capturing that moment on the road, just getting a chance to slow down for 2 seconds to even do anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, mostly it's like a couple of the songs I was figuring out, I would just do it. I'd show the band in sound check, like, this is my idea, so that's kind of your time. Or I'd sing and think about it while I was driving. But yeah, you're right. You don't really have much time sometimes. And then if you have a day off, you're like, last fucking thing I want to do right now is put everybody together and be like, all right, we're going to rehearsal for new music, But it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's no one likes to practice on their day off. I mean, I always think about like sports, as far as like the NBA goes, it's kind of the same kind of like, schedule as far as being on the road or being at home. And then like, the coach is like 8 a.m. practices or something,
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not the most fun, but yeah. You know what I find really interesting too, connected to all this, is that, a lot of your songs, they really much, they reflect that blue collar aspect that we've been talking about. But, in music is really like a blue collar job as well. We kind of like always think of it as like being kind of more glamorous, but it's very much a blue collar thing as well.
Man, I was thinking that last night. That's so funny you brought that up. Because I was like, yeah, this shit's kind of dirty and it's hot and you're in weird positions and it's loud. But last night things were slowing down on the job, so I was just pretty much in the break trailer and I was trying to get all my music stuff done. I was like, man, this is so much. It takes up so much more of your damn time than. I mean, and scatterbrained, and you got to organize everything, and it's just it's just a different kind of work, but it's equally, if not more, difficult to do this, and to keep motivated sometimes, especially after last year. So, I mean, I totally agree with you. People don't realize how much work goes into it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is all just kind of like laid out for you. I'm like, no, motherfucker. And especially doing this shit and on top of that, it's like it's a lot, and it's not just glamorous like you said. So
yeah, there's this like disconnect where like people think that musicians are, they're living in the Hollywood Hills, like all of them have number one hits no matter what. And there's like that thing that like maybe like, oh, you guys are only working 90 minutes a night. And it's like, well, no, I mean, there's like,
that's the fun part. That's the part that makes it all worth it. But if you knew the bullshit that was in between all of it, dealing with stuff, and it's a lot.
Yeah. But what's like the worst drive you've had to do, like out on tour?
The worst what? I'm sorry.
Drive.
Probably the one I'm about to do. No, I mean, it just is what it is, you know. Because we do everything ourselves, still van tour, and I still manage everything, and so I wear a lot of hats, and that kind of can be exhausting. But the longest drive, I mean, it's all relative, you know. Like we did, you know, some days on your day off, you might have a 12-hour drive, or we'll split it up and see some friends somewhere, or you know, I don't really mind it. I guess to answer your question.
Yeah, no, I get
Snowstorms
it.
are a bitch. Snowstorms are if you get caught in a snowstorm in the van, you know, that long axle or long drive shaft and slipping and sliding, it can get hairy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I guess like, you know, you're from the South like me, where not dealing with a whole lot of snow growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Where are you at? Where are you based out of?
here in Texas. I'm
Oh,
Lubbock,
okay.
Texas. So yeah, way out west where there's really no snow, unless it's like April or some shit. Then for some reason they'll have like one bad snow day.
Flurries or
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I've never seen snow in Texas, but
Well, like this
maybe
past year
maybe
we had that blizzard thing that like
yeah,
knocked out the
I
power.
did.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. And like down eastern Texas.
yeah, it was like it's one of those things where they talk about like, oh, you know, it's like a once in 100-year storm. Yeah,
Right,
why
exactly.
did this happen like 2 years in a row or something? You know, like that kind of shit.
Yeah. And after such a shit year yesterday, it's just kind of one more thing to lay on there,
Yeah.
lay on the pile of shit.
Where are you at right now?
I'm actually in Chattanooga, at a Hampton Inn in Hickson. If anyone wants to come visit, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I knew.
Um,
Go ahead.
no, yeah, I'm working. Um, well, I can't really. I don't know if I could say,
Yeah, you
but
don't have to say.
I'm working at a plant pretty close to here. I actually lived here for 6 years, so it's of all the random shitholes in the world that I could be sent to. I got sent to. My van was even here, so I get to get my guitar, one of my guitars, and pedal board. It actually worked out very, very convenient. It was very convenient. So
Yeah. The reason I ask is because like you spoke with my buddies Hippies and Cowboys a little bit back,
yeah,
and you were down in Florida, so I didn't know if you were
yeah,
still
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. They're good dudes. We were gonna have a follow up just for fun, um, just have beers and talk shit,
yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see what happened. I mean, we're all busy. It's like to find time, and my schedule wasn't cohesive with anyone's lives, so that's probably mostly my fault.
No, I hear you. I mean, I've known those guys for a minute, but we've still haven't met up either.
Ever
Because we're
met? Yeah. I asked them. I said, "Did you have you all even met before?" And they're like, "Yeah, we met once in Kentucky." I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, that's just hilarious. That's kind of the world that we live in now. You know, it's like you got friends on Instagram or something that you've never even met, and it's kind of bizarre. But
you know, like the weirdest thing when you meet people like that in person, really, is like, you ever been surprised by or caught off guard how tall they are or how like short they are?
right,
That's
yeah,
always the thing. And of course, like musicians, it feels like musicians are always like 5'7" or like 6'4". There's like no middle
yeah,
ground. So
yeah. Well, I'm the guy in the middle ground. I'm like 5'11", 6 foot with my boots on. That's right.
given that boost, yeah.
Gave me that little boost, but my legs are short. I think my legs are short and stubby. I don't know what it is, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't think about that shit anymore.
Yeah.
I broke my pelvis 2 years ago, and I think that kind of fucked me up.
Oh man, yeah, that seems like it would.
Yeah, it kind of like my right leg for sure. I went to the chiropractor. Like, yeah, your right leg's at least a 1/4 inch shorter. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I know that. Like, of course, like if you bust your back or like your neck or something, of course you can like lose an inch or two easily. Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah, those that whole thing, that thing called your spine.
Yeah.
Posture's everything too, so they tell me.
But I don't know. It's I don't even know how we got onto this, but
no, that's cool.
Yeah. This episode of New Slang is brought to you by the Blue Light Live here in Lubbock, Texas. Blue Light has undoubtedly been my home away from home over the years and has played such a vital role not only for my development as a journalist, but obviously it's been one of the foundational pieces for a lot of your favorite songwriters and bands who have made it out of the Lubbock area over the years. And of course, as a music venue, they've played such a pivotal role for a lot of your favorite bands just in general. One of my favorite parts about Blue Light is just how versatile the place can truly be. I've seen it crowded and rowdy on a Saturday night for a rock and roll band, and I've seen it dead still on a Wednesday when a legendary singer-songwriter rolls through town. What you should do is go over to bluelightlubbock.com and check out all the new merch they've added. Hats, t-shirts, both short and long sleeve. They also have hoodies and koozies and just added some sweatshirts that are very much an homage to the college sweatshirt that John Belushi wore in Animal House. And then of course, maybe the crown jewel of their new merch is the Varsity Club style jacket in blue satin. I got one the other day, and yeah, it's just one of my favorite things I own now. And yeah, I don't know, I just love it. Anyway, you can check out all of their new merch over at bluelightlubbock.com. As always, I'll throw a link into the show notes for easy access. Okay, let's get back to the show. The thing I wanted to go back to though was I've really enjoyed the music video aspect of this record. Where's been like, I guess like where'd all those come from as far as like, are you the main person as far as coming up with the ideas for these music videos and everything?
Let's like, I think we did 3, right? All I Need, Rock and Roll Honky Tonk Life, and Good Time, I believe. And then we did the Q&A, the promo one. I don't know if you saw that one. That one was fun to make.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, living in LA, that is one of the pros. Is having people that are super talented in film and become friends and just work together on stuff, and so I actually came up with the idea for All I Need. I was like, I'm thinking Speed Dating meets Napoleon Dynamite and Nobody Loves Me. And, Felipe, my drummer, he actually is the ladies' man. He's the one in the suit, and I'm just like all jealous of him. Oh, I'm awake. Hold on. Yeah, that was, so I kind of wrote that and then worked with the guy, Andrew Marks, that I work with often, film guy and videographer. He's actually a musician himself. And then Samantha Miller, a gal I know, she kind of helped direct it. It's just a tight little crew, and we did it in a bar across the street from my apartment. And then Rock and Roll Honky Tonk Life, Andrew filmed that at a live show in the Blasco's, actually a show with Whiskey Myers. So that was super fun. And then Good Time, he also filmed that. And we actually because we were trying to come up with something, quick. And we're like, well, we don't want to rush anything and make it shit, because no one wants to watch a shit video. And for the minimal amount of shit that we did, he actually did a really good job. And I was happy with it. Just an honest kind of like live video in the studio. And we actually, that same day, I actually filmed the Q&A in the morning, and then we filmed that music video that night. And I was like, man, I got a lot of respect for these actors because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But the Q&A, I was like, man, let's just do something funny. because usually on the road I'm doing stupid little Instagram videos and shit, but I was like, let's come up with something funny. So I came up with these questions, and a lot of it's improv, and some of it I had previous ideas of what was going to happen, but it always kind of changed. And then I came up with random ass, like no one Twittered me asking me questions about the album. We just totally made that shit up. I don't know if you got that, but
I kind of figured those were all like your Hotmail addresses at one time,
Yeah, exactly. Or they're old friends, like my buddy Dirt. We call him Dirt Beef Fro, and then I got a buddy named Freaky Phil. And there's this guy I used to know we called him Botafuco, because he's this giant guy from Miami, but he could spin kick a can off your head. So I was like, Botafuco spin kick. So it was all fun. And like that Q&A I edited, Rock and Roll Honky Tonk Life I edited. I just enjoy kind of creating stuff just in general. So yeah.
That's I don't know if it's been, maybe it's just a coincidence because it has been the quarantine thing, but like Ottoman Turks, like they've had a couple of really good music videos too, and it's all because of just kind of having downtime and deciding like, well, we need to do something fun for this record, and they've got some videos that are creative, that also like where they were able to like utilize and be smart with like their budget and everything. And I feel like there's a lot of, you guys probably did a lot of the same kind of things with these music videos that are, just utilizing like what you have, your resources that have been able to
absolutely
also have fun and stuff. So I know I've really dug them.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. No one, I would just like, like I said, you just kind of put shit out and you're like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. I don't get nervous anymore, and I really quit caring, but I care about the work that goes into making it. But you just throw caution to the wind and you're like, fuck it. Who cares? Let's just see what people think about it. And it's better to be unapologetically, or unapologetic in a way, and just go for it. But the downtime we did have was nice, and I should have done more, really. Should have done more videos, but now they got featured in Rolling Stone with with Rob and all that stuff. So I think they're a little more motivated to work with me, for more videos. So that's all it could help. But in reality, it's like, well, that won't happen again until the next album. But to have a good little video crew in your corner is especially nowadays is clutch.
Yeah, I can very much see that being the case. Just having even that little bit of that Rolling Stone notoriety. I mean, it goes a long way with everyone. Boost the street cred with everyone. So.
And it's the quality of them, quality of the videos for sure.
This episode is brought to you by Wild Gallery. Based in Austin, Texas, Wild Gallery is Austin's only art gallery featuring Native American art. Head on over to wyld.gallery to see their vast array of traditional and contemporary art by Native American artists. Currently, they are a virtual gallery. You can still make appointments on their website if you're wanting to purchase a specific painting in person. But of course, the beauty of them being virtual is that you're able to see and buy from your home without trekking all the way to Austin. While New Slang definitely focuses on music, I always love speaking with songwriters about those other mediums that they explore. Often that's through painting and drawing, the visual arts. And since I'm a West Texas native, I've long been drawn to the history, the stories, traditions, and heritage of Native Americans, especially those that were out here in the Western frontier. And that is what's so great about Wild Gallery. All of the artists featured are Native American, and they are telling stories about Native Americans. If you scroll through their collection, you'll see a wide range of styles as well. There's definitely some American West and some bold pop art. There's more of that traditional fine art like oil on canvas, as well as those that are influenced by Native American traditions. My parents, they always had paintings hanging around the house or their offices that were inspired by West Texas and Native Americans. And now I do as well, especially here in my office, which I'll let you guess where the latest print is from. As a journalist, I do feel like the most intimidating part is staring at a blank white page. And of course, you don't have to be a journalist to be staring at a white blank page. I know a lot of y'all do that. What I'm saying though is don't let your walls suffer from that same white blandness. Go visit Wild Gallery. I guarantee you will find something that moves you and that you'll want hanging in your home. Again, that's Wild with a Y. Go visit wyld.gallery. Links will be in the show notes as well. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, you mentioned Whiskey Myers a minute ago. I know you've done a bunch of opening for them over the years. I guess like you were one of those artists on that festival that they're starting up, right? That
yeah. We're doing that on October 2nd.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if that had been like announced again, or didn't they had to like cancel it, right, or like postpone it, right? I'm not making this up in my head, right?
No, yeah. Okay. It was last year. Yeah, last year. A lot of stuff we were doing last year is this year. So, and it seems to be sticking. So October 2nd, we play Saturday. And it's with a lot of bands that I like too. So I think that's what they were trying to do, and congrats on them for making it happen, even despite, all the bullshit last year, because they almost did it too. And they're like, man, it just wasn't worth it. It's like, well, we want people to come, we don't want people to be scared to, it just seems pointless, but they held out for a while, and then it's like, yeah, it's not worth it. So that was probably a good call to get a lot more folks in this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like there was obviously so many of these festivals that were canceled, postponed, all that kind of stuff. And it's, these long tour dates. Yeah, I mean, you understand why you would, it's like such a hard decision, on both sides.
For sure.
Like, a lot of the people don't understand, like there's so many people behind a band that's more than just like the 5 or 6 members of whatever the band or for whatever the case is. Whiskey Myers, man, it's crazy in my opinion how they always kind of just get lumped into the Texas country thing, and they're probably like the best rock and roll band right now, like at least going.
For sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just being from Texas, and that's kind of, hell, I was scared to play Texas the first time. Being a guy from Georgia, I was like, they're not going to like us because we ain't from Texas. So for a big Texas band, or for a Texas band wanting to expand and travel the world and get, worldwide recognition, I would imagine there would be some recoil from that, from your fellow Texans. But, let's be real. Fuck them.
No, I hear you, man. I'm right
like,
there with you.
But I love, we're playing Texas in a few weeks, and I'm stoked. But my point is I'm not retracting my statement, but I'm saying if your fans or the place where you're from shouldn't want you to be limited to just one spot. I don't know if that was the case or not, but if that was the case, or that's the case anywhere, you would want someone that you're a fan of to grow and be as big and best as they can.
Yeah, no, I think it's the, I think
if you love them, set them free, Texas.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that. I think it's the sometimes I think like Texans have like a limited vocabulary on describing music, even though like
Right.
rock and roll is like one of these core labels. I mean, like, you know, it's like the groundwork, the basis of one of the founding genre labels, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think there is something to like the attachment of any band of like, you know, I want them for me, and I would rather them
I
me
was
be
there
like
at
the
their
super
first
fan.
show.
Yeah, that whole thing. And
Right.
it's like, man, okay, just you can let them let them be. As you said, if you love something, you know, you got to let them be free. So like, yeah, it's also one of those things with him too is, you know, a band like that, they've been, I don't know, like two of like probably a lot of people's favorite records they did with Dave Cobb in Nashville. And there's a lot of like non-Texans on that record as far as like the co-writing and whatnot goes. So they're already like out of Texas. Are you there?
Sorry, I muted you with my face on accident.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, for sure. That whole it was probably good. I muted it for what I said. No, I'm just kidding. No, that absolutely, you know, and I think branching out and playing with different, you know, recording with different people and all that was a good move, you know. It's kind of weird being in LA and starting there when, you know, and kind of navigating that whole situation. But someday I'd like to record other places, you know. And mostly it's just, well, never mind, I can't say that. But yes, I would like to record other places as well than just there. But I dig Texas too, shit. So hopefully if any Texans listen to this, they realize that I'm just talking shit, talking out of my ass.
Rob
I
will
love
buy
you.
everyone a Lone Star, and that everyone's going to love.
That's
Like
right.
the
And I'll give you a koozie to put it in.
yeah, we're making peace treaties already on here.
Yeah, that's right. No, like I said, I was nervous, and this guy, first show we played, I think we were in Fort Worth. No, Dallas. And this guy comes up to me, you know, real super Texas looking dude, and he's got this real crisp cowboy hat, and, you know, starched shirt and belt buckle and jeans, looking real fresh and kind of a little gut. And he comes over and he's tall. He's like, there's only two bands that I like that aren't from Texas. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh boy, here we come. You know, this is what I was worried about. He's like, and they're both from Georgia. One's you and one is such and such. And I was like, oh, okay, hell yeah. All right, we'll be all right. And
Yeah.
then he just kind of stood there in front of me. He walked up to me. I was talking to somebody, and he stood there. Was like, okay, like gave me that, like, all right, you can leave now. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I was like, all right, I just have a good night. It was a weird interaction, but it was good. He was like the gatekeeper of Texas, is what it seemed like.
You have the key to the state now. Yeah,
That's right. You can play music in my state. You're welcome. Goodbye.
yeah. I love how he just kind of was like, you know, okay, move on now. Like,
Yeah, he's like, all right, go and get now. Go and get. I'm not gonna give you a hug.
Okay, so one of my favorite songs on this record is that Southern Breeze song. I really love just like I don't know. One of my things that I really love about songwriting in general is like the idioms that people use, or like the phrases, vernacular in general. And that one right there has a bunch of really cool little, you know, pockets of wordplay and stuff. Take me back to like writing that song.
You know, I don't even really remember. You know, what I was thinking of is I had thought of a friend, and I had heard that he wasn't doing. I'm from Cherokee County, Georgia. It's not, it's not a big town, not a small town. It's just kind of a town, in Canton, Georgia. And I heard, and I was like, what about such and such? What about how they doing? Well, they're not good. They're in the, or I know of them, and they have 5 kids, and I'm barely holding down a girlfriend. You know what I mean? So it's like that southern way of people growing up in a smaller town and settling down right away and getting a job and doing the whole thing. And what I did and what some people do is go out and see shit and do shit and have bigger dreams or desires or want to do something. So basically it's just a conversation with an old friend. um we both did separate things, and I'm sure you wonder what this life is like. But to be honest with you, what brings us back together is the area that we're from, no matter what. So that's basically just a conversation, and that's kind of how I wrote it, was hearing about friend, and that's just the case for a lot of people that I went to school with. They all just kind of settled down, never really left. So that's the idea behind that one.
Yeah, no, I get that sentiment right there of a lot of people. I think like a lot of, I don't know, probably a lot of people in general, they may go off to school for a minute, and maybe school's like okay with them. Maybe sometimes, like I know like one of my dad's guys he went to school with, they went to a school in San Angelo called Angelo State. He walked into the classroom first day, sat down for 5 minutes, got up, went and packed all of his stuff and went back home to work for his dad. And it was
That's
just like,
it, huh?
it was like, no, he left before like the professor even got in the room, that kind of thing.
Damn.
So,
Damn.
sometimes that's how people, there's some comfort in there. I
Absolutely.
I get that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, yeah, totally. That's freaked him out, huh? Like, whoa, man, big world. And it's okay if you breastfeed until you're 15. That's what some people do. It's not a big deal. There's a comfort in that. So you can go home. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I gotta watch what I say. I need a manager just to tell me to shut the fuck up sometimes.
Yeah. Do you just like having a mic in front of you the whole time and the guy just kind of muting you every once in a while?
Yeah, exactly. Censorship. Beep. Like, wait, what did he say? No, he just beeps sometimes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. Like, when did you? I know, like you traveled, moved around a bunch as a kid, but like, was it always one of those things that you wanted to get out? Like that was just kind of like there was never kind of staying home.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Oh, I was saying like I know that you moved around a bunch as a kid, but like, was there always that sense of like getting away from whatever that place of home was that you always knew that you wanted to get?
Yeah, I mean, so my father was in the Army, and at the time, and so I lived in Georgia, until I was 4, and then he went to college and got his engineering degree in Utah. So we were there for 4 years, then got back in the military, and so we lived in California for a little while. So I didn't move back to Georgia until I was in ninth grade, I think. So I saw a little bit everywhere, and it's funny. I maintained these friends that I had in Southern California for a long time. I mean, still friends with them today. See them when I'm there. So I think that rambling aspect, and I don't like the term military brat because I don't really understand that, but yeah, I mean, I think it was instilled in me at a young age just to move around. but then finally when they decided to go back to Georgia, that I was like, yeah, this feels more like home, or the South in general. But yeah, last year was tough, man. It was one of those things, moving around so much, and my apartment is like the size of a shoebox. I was like, I'm not staying here. I don't care. They tell me to lock down. So I packed up and I went to a ranch in Texas, friend's ranch, just for like a few weeks, and then, or a couple, I don't know how long it was, but my goal was to go back to the mountains in Tennessee where I was a raft guide, because no one's there, So I kind of hid out up there, and I lived in my van for a while last year, and whitewater was a whitewater raft guide again, which was something I did from 18 to 23. I did for like 5 summers, and just spent time on the river and the mountains that I had left when I moved out west. So I wasn't, not saying that I wasn't careful, but there's just less people. It didn't really seem to exist, if that makes sense.
Right.
And you got to watch what you say, and that brings me back to the festival of last year, when I'm not a public figure, but, they are, right? So you can get a lot of criticism from different sides for some of your actions, so you got to kind of have to watch what you say, because you will be judged. It was very two-sided, some in the middle. So, I just wanted to kind of disappear, and I was bitter. It's like, I worked my ass off, and we were rolling, like a freight train. And then someone just called me and said, it's all over. And I was like, well, fuck you. Fuck this. I didn't play guitar for, a little while. I mean, I played, but I wasn't inspired whatsoever, which is kind of sad. So that was a long answer to your question.
Want to break one more time to talk about our pals over at Desert Door and offer a handful of my favorite go-tos. By no means am I an experienced mixologist or bartender or anything like that, but these have been super easy to make and great ways to unwind in the evening. Let's start off by upping your ranch water game a little bit by subbing Desert Door in. I'm a simple man. I just kind of take a Topo Chico, take a couple of drinks out, add some Desert Door, and top it off with a few lime wedges. I'm actually pretty big on the Palomas now too. What I'll do is take some Desert Door, some grapefruit juice, a dash of agave nectar, and some fresh lime juice. And I'm kind of big on lime, so I'll throw in another wedge or two when I pour it over some ice. And actually, I'll do the exact same thing, but I'll substitute some pineapple for the grapefruit for a change up. Anyway, Desert Door, it's as versatile as vodka and more refined, smooth, and complex than tequila. It's rich and balanced, so whatever your go-to is, it'll do the trick. For more info on Desert Door, check the show notes. All right, back to the episode. I think it's interesting there about, I think a lot of artists were, like, obviously out of place. Like, you're just trying to, everyone kind of just tells you to be put on pause. Hey, pause everything that you're doing as far as, releasing a record or touring or just trying to make a living, right?
Right.
I think there's like this other thing too, where, the idea, the premise of like you having like some free time to write songs, and like that it sounds like a good idea. Like you'd probably take that offer if you just had that offer, but it's not like on paper that sounds really great. In practice,
right.
Like it's very much like, all of a sudden there's all this weight and pressure on every day as far as like even trying to do something. And like, if you don't have anything to write about, it just gets more and more tough, and
absolutely
trying to figure out how to break out of that.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, there used to be a sense of pride that I had. I was like, I'm going to be a full-time musician, and I'm not going to have a side job, and I'm not going to, this is just what I'm going to do. And, after we were just kind of moving so fast for like a smaller operation, you know, and last year it kind of took a step back. You know, I saw family. I did things that I wouldn't have been able to do. I saw old friends and things that I once valued and enjoyed doing. But it was, you know, now I'm like, yeah, I can weld and I can, you know, that's what made, and that's what I write about. And that's something that, you know, is important to me. But, you know, and I think a lot of people don't share their other side. And because a lot of people at my level, you know, do have jobs, and a lot of them may not, you know, and they dedicate all their time to it. You know, I think it's good to have a balance of stuff, you know, until you can make a really good living doing it, which we were making a decent living. But I think being well-rounded is important, you know. And yeah, I'll take a few jobs once, you know. This year's kind of slow rolling again, because I think there was so much uncertainty still, even into the spring. So, you know, we weren't like booking the summer in January, you know, because nobody knew. It was still full. So, you know, I like welding. I like that shit. You know, I like, you know, getting my hands dirty, and I think there's nothing wrong with having a balance between all that. And so, you know, I am going to keep this job, and luckily I'm in a position where I can work a job or two a year, and I'm stoked on that. You know, I like doing different things. So
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, no, I think there's, so my comparison here is like going to be with athletes who become pro and like their entire lives have been dedicated to becoming whatever what profession that is. Like if you're a football player, you're a football player since you're a kid, right? And then all of a sudden, like you have to
Absolutely.
retire at like an early age in comparison to the rest of the world. And
Right.
the transition from like pro ball player to ex-pro ball player at like, let's just say 33, that can be really, really hard because like your entire life has been dedicated to this one thing.
Yeah.
And if you compare, if we're going back to the artistry thing, if like you consider yourself as a musician and that's all, and then that's taken away, that's stripped away, like, you know, there's a lot of, you know, mind games that can, as far as like how you
for
value
sure.
yourself and like how other people value your worth in general, all that kind of stuff. So
Absolutely, that was a struggle, you know, because a lot of people knew me as that, you know, and we're all a lot more than just one thing.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, embracing that and you know, it's I don't think it's good to be defined as one thing, you know.
Right.
Because then you're only worth to the world is that one thing, which music is a really important thing. But, you know, I want to be the best human I can be, you know.
Diversify the portfolio.
Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I admire, like, I got buddies that are really, you know, successful and coming up, but hobbies are important too, and doing other things. But you'll lose your mind if that's all you think about.
Yeah, for sure.
And it'll come to you if you just, you know, have other things going on. I like to pull inspiration from a whole bunch of stuff. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. It's that's, you know, I'll get you out on this one last point here, and it's that whole quarantine record thing too. Is like, you know, you said no one wants to hear that record as far as the quarantine blues, essentially.
Right.
I can't wait to. I want to hear like everyone's like record that is from this time, but not about this time. If that makes sense. And I think like those records are going to be the records that we kind of go back to. Not
Exactly.
the record about, oh, you know, being stuck inside for 12 months was not fun.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. No offense to anybody, but yeah, I don't, you know. And I kind of wrote a song recently that talks about it a little bit, but not, you know. And some people did it really well, you know. But if I hear the word quarantine in a song, I'm not into it.
Yeah. I hear you.
Which there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, that's just the way they felt in that time, and that's what music's all about, you know. But I tried to avoid that. So I wrote a song, and it kind of mentions it, but really what it's about is, you know, prevailing over a dark time, and whatever, you know, depression is real, and you know, I kind of experienced that, or just like you said, wondering what your worth is, and what you have to contribute. And I know, you know, tons and tons of people experience that, and some people, it didn't really change their lives. They're just like, well, I got to work from home, which was cool. I didn't even have to go in the office. I could do my job in my sweatpants, which is awesome, you know. But for musicians and, you know, athletes for a brief time, and the film industry, we were all really, you know, and service industry, we were all really affected by it, and kind of just wondered what the hell we're going to do. So, you know, the song is just kind of about pushing through and, you know, adapt and react, you know.
Yeah.
It's a survival instinct, you know. Still make shit happen. There's hurdles everywhere. So this was just one that was one hurdle in your life. So
yeah, it's been one of those hurdles that I feel like, I don't know. I'm like a pessimist about shit, but I've actually been kind of optimistic about things lately, and I feel like we're gonna come out of this a little bit more appreciative in a lot of ways, maybe a little bit
absolutely
more aware of not just our own well-being, but maybe our friends' well-being too. And I think like I hope so, at least. I hope that like we're all kind of a little bit more aware of everyone in our lives and how they're doing, how you're doing, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Communication is a lot stronger, it seems, these days, you know. So you got to be grateful for that.
Yeah, for sure. So
and about other things that you value, and now, you know, everything's coming back, so I hope that sticks for a little while.
Yeah, I do as well, man. So yeah, it's been really great talking with you this afternoon.
Yeah, you too, brother. I mean, I appreciate the call. I'm glad you're feeling better.
All right, that is it for this one. Be sure to check out Blood, Sweat, and Beers by Rob Leines if you haven't already. Go check out our presenting partners over at Desert Door, the Blue Light Live, and Wild Gallery. Stop on over at the merch store if you haven't already as well. And yeah, I'll see y'all later this week for another episode.